Hi, I'm Pastor Dave with Declaration Church, and I don't know if you had a similar experience when you were younger, but when I was younger, I used to love to go out into the driveway and shoot baskets. I would go out and I would shoot baskets. I would run around on my driveway, laying up the ball, taking deep shots from the street. And my driveway was slanted a little bit, so shooting from like back here on the street, we were shooting uphill to try and make a basket that we would count as a three-pointer. And I remember going out and playing one-on-one with my dad or playing 21 with friends. And I remember going out and just enjoying playing basketball, enjoying shooting baskets. And I remember going out sometimes in the evening by myself and running around and shooting baskets and imagining what it would be like to be playing in an NBA championship. I love basketball. I've always loved basketball. I love Duke. I love the Nuggets. I love basketball. I love watching teams like the Warriors of a few years ago or the Spurs with Tim Duncan. And I love watching teams play basketball where they're completely unselfish and they're sharing the ball and shots are going up and they're working the ball around. I love watching basketball. Basketball is amazing to me. I love the game. And I'm only 5.5 feet tall. I'm not a tall guy. So there's no way I was probably going to end up in the NBA. I would have had to been completely amazing at everything else so that my height was less of a detriment in order to have any shot at the NBA. I know Muggsy Bogues is a little bit shorter than I am. I know Spud Webb is about my height. But the reality is those are complete outliers with the NBA. Most players are well above 6 feet tall. And so I had very little chance of ever making it to the NBA. But I remember going out and imagining being in that setting, imagining being surrounded by a crowd of witnesses as I went and drove the lane for the winning shot, or as I took the winning three-pointer from way downtown and just boom, swish, nothing but net, and the crowd goes wild. I don't know if you ever had that opportunity, or if you ever imagined yourself in that situation and you'd make the crowd noise. I'd make the crowd noise with my, I'll be like, and the crowd goes wild and just crazy, winning the title with the shot. Oh, there it is. And I don't know if you ever did that, but I did that as a kid. And I just imagining myself in a situation where there is a crowd pumping me up, cheering me on, and rooting me on to victory as I drive the lane for the winning shot. I remember just putting myself in that situation. And I've never actually been in a situation like that in my life. I've never been in a situation where someone was cheering me on in that way. Maybe you have. I don't know. But I remember imagining what that was like. And I came across this scripture. I've read a number of different times. But every time I read this scripture, I think of myself in a situation like that. I think of myself in a situation where I am actually just surrounded by this crowd cheering me on to victory. And it's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. It says, therefore, so you have to go back to the faith chapter, which is Hebrews 11, and read through that. But you get through that and you get to, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. And that is the picture I get. A lot of times our faith gets compared to a marathon, running a marathon. And marathons, I don't know if you've ever run any kind of distance. I've never run a marathon. I've run at most at a single time, I've run 8 miles. And I don't know if you've ever run a long distance, but as you get going, you reach a point where you feel like you just need to stop. You just need to stop. And I've heard a number of people describe that as the wall. You've got to push through the wall and get to the other side. And once you get to the other side, you'll find a whole different level of endurance and strength. And you'll find yourself in a place where you can run a lot farther than you have to that point. Eventually, you will get to a point where you will absolutely be exhausted and you just can't take another step. But if you can get to the wall and then push past it, you've got more miles in you. And I imagine that if you are surrounded by people who are cheering you on, who are rooting you on, that getting through the wall is a lot easier. And our faith, being compared to a race in that particular scripture and others, being compared to a marathon, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because there is a point I think we all reach, and maybe multiple points really. I know I've hit more than one, where it just feels like sometimes I just don't want to go on. I don't want to take another step. I just want to give up. And yet, right before this verse, the writer of Hebrews talks about a number of different heroes of the faith. Heroes of the faith. People like Abraham, people like David, people who are unnamed that were being taken before crowds and thrown to lions. Maybe referencing Daniel, maybe referencing people who were being taken because of their faith, being arrested and thrown into the Colosseum or other venues in Rome and forced to face wild animals or gladiators unarmed or dressed up as sheep and then allowed to just thrown into an arena where wolves were let loose. These are the kinds of things that were taking place when Hebrews is written. And then he says, therefore, being surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, what he's implying there, or at least the way I interpret it, is that all of these people who have come before us now surround us to cheer us on as we move forward in our faith. To say, keep going, keep going, keep going. To cheer us on through the wall, through that point where we want to give up, where we want to stop, where we just want to give in. Because when we get past the wall, there is victory on the other side. There's victory on the other side. And that's what we find here in this passage. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, all these people who have come before and made it through to the end, to the other side, to win the race, let us also lay aside every weight, just like they did, and sin, which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus endured and pressed through the wall to get to the other side and achieved total victory. All of the people in Hebrews 11 did the same. And you and I are called to do the same, surrounded by those witnesses, cheering us on to finish the race and finish well. And that encourages me and strengthens me. And I hope it does you as well. If this video has challenged you and encouraged you to continue to push on and press forward and keep going in your faith walk with Jesus, then go ahead and give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you're notified anytime we post new content. I'm so excited about continuing this journey of faith with you. And I hope that you'll continue to journey with me as we move forward. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.